You are watching Money Talk with Tia Harris, here to empower you with information regarding all your financial needs. Tune in every week for the best common sense financial information in the nation. Money Talk with Tia Harris. Thank you for watching Money Talk. I'm your host, Tia Harris. I have an awesome guest here in the studio with me. It's Mr. Mondez Thomas, and he's a local insurance agent. So today we're going to be educating you on certain things pertaining to insurance. I do want to encourage you to go ahead and get your pen and pad ready, because we want you to implement some of these things in your life for you, your family, loved ones, and share this information with friends as well.
Yes.
We will also give Mr. Thomas information out several times throughout the program so that you guys can write it down and touch base with him. Now, before we get into the nitty-gritty, Mr. Thomas, please establish yourself with your background.
Sure. My name is Mondez Thomas. Lived here in Charlotte for about 14 years. Originally from Syracuse, New York. Went to college here in Charlotte at UNC Charlotte. Go 49ers. And also worked at the local bank, Mechanics and Farmers Bank, right out of college. Have experience doing stocks with E-Trade Financial and day trading. And we also recently, about 4 years ago, joined on with AmeriLife and Health Services, and now I'm one of their branch leaders helping educate people about insurance and different opportunities in the marketplace.
All right, so just kind of curious to know, why did you switch from stocks and helping people invest to different type of insurance products? Is it similar, or what
It's actually very similar, yeah. What happens is in stock investing, you're taking money, you're planning for the future, and you're betting on a horse. See, one thing a lot of people don't want to associate with the stock market is it's a gamble. A lot of the companies are here today and gone tomorrow, but we don't think about that. So when you invest in the stock market, you're hoping for a return so that in your retirement years you have money that you didn't previously have. You're looking for a higher interest rate than what you can normally get at a bank. You know, if the bank was paying you 10% interest every year, you wouldn't even put your money in the stock market. You would actually put your money in the bank. Problem is that the bank right now is only paying 1%. So you're better off risking it and hoping to get a better return through the stock market. With the stock market, though, I was there throughout the whole stock market crash in 2008, or what they call the correction, the bubble popping, whatever you want to call it. And witnessing that, I saw the confusion in the hearts of all my consumers. I also saw the confusion in the management. The managers didn't know what was going on. And by not understanding what's going on in the marketplace, if the people that are managing your money don't know what's going on, you need to be scared. You really need to be scared, because if they're losing your money and they can't explain to you why, how does that make you feel?
All right, so you basically switched to insurance.
Yes.
And I want to start with life insurance and just briefly say something. On a later program, we're going to a lot more details.
Sure.
But there's multiple types of life insurance, but you can invest with that as well, and that'll be the next show. There's multiple types. And many folks don't know that. You know, they might hear term insurance, whole life insurance, universal insurance. Real quick, give us a quick summary of term.
Term insurance is something that you use for a strictly death benefit. When I describe insurance to people, I describe it as two different types of insurance. You have death insurance and you have life insurance. Term insurance is a form of death insurance. It pays out a large lump sum when you die. There's no benefits in the meantime, but when you pass away, your beneficiaries will receive a large lump sum of money, provided that you pass away within the term period. So a term...
A specified period.
Specified period. So a term can go from 10, 15, 20 to 30 years. Now, there's various types of term products that we could talk about, but when you're buying term, you're usually paying $20 to $40 a month for $100,000 to $500,000 of insurance. And when you pass away, that money goes right to your beneficiaries, assuming you died within that term. One of the big issues with term, and I want to encourage everyone to read their insurance when you do this, when you have term insurance, you need to understand how long that your contract is and what happens when it expires. Because the company is smart. Just like in gambling, they know what's going to happen. The house always wins. 98% of term insurance is never paid out.
And that's why we have an expert such as you on the show that folks can reach out to actually do one-on-one consultation with, have a review of documents, make sure you're clear on what these documents say, what the correct interpretation is. Okay, so now term, I think many people do need term insurance. It's very affordable for large sums.
Yes.
Want to remind you that if you are employed and you have group life insurance, the odds are that's a term policy. And so I definitely think that you need one of these others that we're getting ready to mention, because when it runs out, you'll be older, you may be heavier, you may be sicker,
Something may have
and
happened.
all these things go for increase. So it's good that you establish your temporary and your permanent insurance as soon as possible. And want to encourage all the grandparents out there, the parents out there, to establish the children's policy as soon as possible as well, and let them take it over when they get older. That's the best way for them. So let's move on to whole life.
Sure. Whole life is a very popular form of insurance. A lot of people are purchasing that. You see it on TV all the time. You know, so-and-so passed away and we had to have a fish fry to raise money for their funeral. So-and-so passed away and we had to church up for the money. I don't want my kids to have to worry about that. So what people do is...
Sad scenario.
It's a very sad scenario. And what people do is they buy whole life insurance. And in order to buy the whole life insurance, what you do, there's usually very few health questions, but you'll be paying $40 to $50 a month. You get like a $10,000 to $20,000 policy, and you're set for life. As long as you pay on it, you know, you'll be reimbursed.
Well, we want you guys to know exactly what you have. Connect with Mondez Thomas. This is a free consultation. It's not going to cost you a thing. And allow him to review your documents. There are so many people that get confused. I remember I did mortgage loans for quite some time. And I had someone tell me, and I knew the rates at that time as well, hey, I've got a 30-year mortgage. I said, no, it sounds like you have an adjustable mortgage with the rate that you stated. And they debated and debated. I said, go back and look at your paperwork. Come back and see me. They looked at their paperwork. Sure enough, they definitely had an adjustable mortgage. So you need to know what you have when it comes to life insurance. Can you kind of give a summary of Universal?
Sure. Universal Life is a little bit cheaper than whole life. However, depending on who set it up for you, you really need to understand the inner workings of it. Universal Life is a combination of term and whole life. So you get more insurance at less money with the cash benefit of potentially lasting your whole life or just growing cash value within the policy. There's a lot of moving parts in a term policy or in a universal policy, but what happens is what we see mostly is if you had your policy for, say, 30, 40 years, you may be running out of cash value because the policy each year has what's called a cost basis, and the cost basis comes out every year. That cost of insurance keeps subtracting from your cash value, whether you know it or not. And what happens is when you're 75, when you're 80 years old, you're still living, and you get a letter in the mail saying, hey, you have to pay us more money.
Not good for
good
sure.
At all.
Yeah, so you definitely have to be careful. Please definitely connect with Mr. Mondez Thomas. We're offering free consultation for a professional that is licensed, not a family member, not a friend, somebody that is licensed that can sit down and take a look at it. And if you want to have some family members and friends there when you get this policy reviewed, you are more than welcome to do that. But I want you to encourage that. You need to know what you have. Just like he said, for example, with the older universal life policies, you don't want to get to the end or the latter part of your life, think you have everything squared away and straight for those individuals and loved ones, and then all of a sudden you can't afford your insurance anymore.
Exactly.
So you need to be in a great position, and in order for you to do that, it's not to procrastinate, but to prepare today. We're going to continue this when we come back from the commercial break. You guys are watching Money Talk. I'm your host, Atia Harris.
Biggs Auto Repair. For over 15 years, Biggs Auto Repair has been serving the Charlotte community. Biggs Auto Repair is a certified master mechanic. Biggs Auto Repair specializes in diagnostic checks, brake services, body repair, deep engine work, engine replacement, transmissions, bodywork restoration, general auto repair. That's what they do. They're located at 2600 Freedom Drive. For more details, you can call 704-399-5808. That's 704-399-5808. Biggs Auto Repair. Quality work and affordable price.
The Affordable Care Act has had over 7 million people sign up for it this year alone. One of the biggest things is that people are saving money for themselves, for their families, and for their future. By doing this, you want to make sure that you understand how the plan works for you. So definitely feel free to give Mondez Thomas a call with AmeriLife and Health Services, and we'll go over all of your various options with you. My phone number is 704-728-5075. If you have any questions, no matter how big or small, I'll be glad to answer them for you.
If you're in the market for an electrical service, then look no further. Almighty Electrical Installations will get the job done. They are licensed, bonded, and insured. With over 18 years of experience, they know how to get the job done fast, affordable, effective, and professionally. They do new construction electrical rewiring, panel change out, bathroom lighting, kitchen lighting, custom home and industrial lighting, upgrades, entertainment center, and much, much more. Almighty Electrical Installations. Turn us on, 704-712-6536. That's 704-712-6536.
Now, back to Money Talk with Atia Harris.
One of the issues with long-term care, or extended care as I like to call it, is the fact that the government has a plan for us whether we like it or not. If you do not plan, what will happen is the government steps in and spends your assets just like we talked about. But by planning, even if you're 40 years old, if you're 50 years old, if you're 60 years old, you can still create a plan of action that will help protect your assets, protect your real estate, protect your family's income and your lifestyle. And if you want to leave a legacy to somebody or to a charitable organization, you can still do that, even if you end up in a facility or something like that ends up happening to you.
Again, this all goes back to planning.
Yes.
And there are not enough of us planning, only a small percentage. So we want to encourage you today to reach out to Mr. Mondez Thomas, have a phone conference or a meeting with him in person and go over this stuff. It doesn't cost you a thing. And the only thing we're trying to do is help, which is wonderful. So now I want to move on actually to annuities in retirement planning, because once again, there's so many people that retire into poverty, and we want to change that. Supposedly the dream is when you retire, you're going to throw the backpack on, you're going to travel the world, you're going to go all across the country. But for a majority of folks, that absolutely does not happen. In fact, they don't even have enough money to live on every month. Now they're dependent on family members, loved ones, and friends. And I don't know about you, but I'd rather be independent versus dependent. Do you want to graduate to dependency, or do you want to be independent?
That's one of the biggest issues. And what we see a lot of times when people, as soon as they retire, all their money's in what's called a 401k. So a 401k is a pre-tax account, and when you move that money, you pay taxes on it. So as soon as you take it out, that hits you with income taxes. It hits you with any taxes that you haven't paid. So let's say I'm working and I make $50,000 a year. Okay, when I retire that same year. I retire in December, and I take my 401k out. If it's $100,000. What happens is that $100,000 is added to my income, and then I pay income taxes at a much higher tax bracket.
Wow.
So that's a huge mistake that people do, is they call it cashing out. So when you cash out, you got to be very careful and understand the consequences of what's going to happen, because the next year you'll get a letter from the IRS saying, hey, you owe us such and such amount of taxes on this money that you took out. And you're looking like, well, I already spent it. I went on a cruise, I went on a trip, I bought a new car, I bought a new house. Where am I going to get this money from? They don't really care. And
this is why you should have a financial person in your pocket. And I think it's a great opportunity that Mr. Mondez Thomas is here today, and he's willing to answer your questions for free and talk to you. Most people will not do that. They have to know that they're going to make money in this type of field. But here we have free services for you today, because we want to see the best for you, and we want you to retire and still be independent instead of dependent. Is that right, Mr. Thomas?
That's exactly right. And when you work with us, that same situation with the 401k, we can roll it into account. And as I told you earlier, I worked in the stock market, where you see that up and down going crazy. And the biggest issue with that is you don't have control over it. We all want to have control over our money. That's what we want to be able to do. We want to be able to get a fair return for our investment. And what happens is when you invest with us, there's no risk of loss. So we guarantee you that you will never lose money. None of my clients in the 4 years I've been working with AmeriLife and Health Services, we've never lost any money for our clients.
Well, that's great. That's absolutely great. I want to give you guys a homework assignment as well. Please, you need to know Social Security. How much are you going to make when it comes time to get Social Security? They send a letter out, you ignore it, you don't take it seriously, you believe it's going to build up over time. I want you to look at that letter right now.
Yes.
And I want you to say to yourself, this is where I want to be on a monthly basis when I retire. If that letter is not matching where you want to be, you definitely need to give Mr. Mondez Thomas a call so that he can review these things with you. So, I mean, it's just so important that you take care of this now. The sooner the better, and actually the younger the better. That's one thing we know about all insurance type products. The younger you are, the less expensive they are. And again, as we mentioned earlier, if you want to set something up for your children at a young age and start their retirement plan now, there's nothing wrong with boosting the next generation. We are definitely believers in boosting the next generation. Too many people don't do that. Normally when I do financial seminars and workshops, I ask folks who in here had someone leave something to them upon their transition out the door to the other side. And there's so many few hands that go up. We need to change that. It's very few. So let's change that today. Reach out to Mr. Mondez Thomas. Take a look. Get a financial portfolio set up. Get a budget in place. Live a better financial life. And I want to thank you so much, Mr. Thomas. But before we go, there's cancer policy we didn't mention.
Yeah.
Cancer is running rapid. And so it's a disability type thing that he's going to explain to you in detail.
One of the things that we look forward to is, getting paid for whatever may happen. And that's when we go back to talking about life insurance. There's insurance for while you're living. So while you're living, things are going to happen. You're going to lose your job potentially. You may have a heart attack. You may have cancer. You may just be out of work for some other random sickness. So what's going to happen to you will affect your livelihood. So you need to insure your livelihood. That's, a way of protecting yourself. And, we have a person that just had a heart attack. Well, she didn't have a heart attack. She thought she had a heart attack. But she went to the doctor. It wasn't a heart attack. We talked to her and said, well, how about the next time if you do have a heart attack, you at least get paid for it? And she asked us, what are you talking about? And we showed her how, for just maybe, I think it was $25 a month, she can get a large lump sum of money that will pay all of her medical bills if she ever did have a heart attack. And it's a very simple plan. You can put it on yourself. You can put it on your kids. And a lot of people use it as what we call a forced savings account. So God forbid you never do have God permitting, you never have a heart attack. That's great. Here in 20 years or 15 years from now, you're going to get a check in the mail just for being healthy. And that's just a benefit of living.
So it's going to refund the premium?
Yeah, it gives you all your money back. So it's
refund a premium. That's a good phrase to know.
Yes, and it's a great thing, especially as you live, as things happen to you. You never know what's going to happen, but I like getting checks in the mail, especially when I'm surprised and I'm not expecting it. All of a sudden, a check shows up for $20,000. Hey, this is fantastic. What am I going to do now? That's
fantastic and amazing. That's what that is. You get a $20,000 check, you're going to be dancing a jig. I know you guys are. So you can protect yourself, and if you don't use the policy within a certain time frame, you get return of premium. Everything is returned back to you. So yes, it is a forced savings account, but also if you do wind up with one of these tragic situations that he mentioned, then you may get a check for that also to help with your medical bills and to pay regular bills in the house so you're not devastated.
The bills don't stop.
That's right. Are there any other products you want to mention real quick?
Well, like I said, we want to make sure you're completely covered from head to toe. Healthcare reform has been a big topic right now with the Obamacare kicking off. And if you're starting your own business, you're losing coverage through your employer, you're retiring, whatever may be going on, you need to understand how this affects you, and especially looking at your income, how your income affects how much you'll be paying for the program. We cover everything. We can go into detail about how that works for you. If you're a small business, we actually talked to a small business owner. He's a great guy. He's actually providing insurance for his employees. He's paying out of pocket for it, and it's costing him, I would say, about $460, $475 a month for each person he has on his coverage. And that's a lot of money to pay somebody for their insurance. But what he didn't realize is that through the Affordable Care Act, by doing it the right way, he can actually get a $15,000 and $20,000 subsidy at the end of the year for taking care of all that insurance. So something he was already doing, he can get money from the government to help him do what he continues to do.
Well, this is absolutely great. We want you to connect with Mr. Thomas on the things that we discussed today. You'll see his number on the screen. That's 704-728-5075. 704-728-5075. This is Money Talk.
If you're in the market for an electrical service, then look no further. Almighty Electrical Installations will get the job done. They are licensed, bonded, and insured. With over 18 years of experience, they know how to get the job done fast, affordable, effective, and professionally. They do new construction electrical rewiring, panel change out, bathroom lighting, kitchen lighting, custom home and industrial lighting, upgrades, entertainment center, and much, much more. Almighty Electrical Installations. Turn us on 704-712-6536. That's 704-712-6536.
The Affordable Care Act has had over 7 million people sign up for it this year alone. One of the biggest things is that people are saving money for themselves, for their families, and for their future. By doing this, you want to make sure that you understand how the plan works for you. So definitely feel free to give Mondez Thomas a call with AmeriLife and Health Services, and we'll go over all of your various options with you. My phone number is 704-728-5075. If you have any questions, no matter how big or small, I'll be glad to answer them for you.
Now, back to Money Talk with Atia Harris. Welcome back to Money Talk with Atia Harris. Right now, we're going to get into some details on the Affordable Health Care Act. Many of you guys are still confused when it comes to that, and Mr. Thomas is actually an expert, so he's going to just give us some highlights of that program, and then you guys can actually reach out to him if you're looking for a savings in regards to your health insurance. Yes. Right, Mr. Thomas?
Yes, definitely. The Affordable Care Act has changed the landscape of health insurance completely. And the biggest thing that we need to understand, especially as a community looking to purchase insurance or, protect our family in case of a health event, you need to understand how your income taxes work. And the Affordable Care Act takes a special look at your income taxes. And by looking at that, they're looking at how much money your adjusted gross income is. So I hear you all the time talking about you need to start your own business. You need to start your own business.
That's right.
You need to start your own business. More than ever, you need to start your own business. So it's something that we need to look at that's very important because you get more tax breaks as far as funding your own business. If you're a W-2 employee and you're making you're making $40,000 a year, your adjusted gross income is going to save $40,000 a year. If you're a 1099 employee making $40,000 a year, it's going to save $40,000 minus business expenses, comes out to $18,000, $15,000, $12,000, whatever is left over. And after taking those deductions, your healthcare premium substantially drops. So I can have two people making the same amount of money, and one's paying $200 a month, the other one's paying $20 a month. And it's that different just based on how much you actually file your taxes, much attention you pay to your taxes.
All right, so we want you guys to definitely look into this. Many of you guys, especially if you're an individual, you could be paying $500 and $700 a month for health insurance. However, the way they have this plan set up, it's worth a look. Whether you agree with it or not, it's definitely worth a look because you could pay significantly less on a monthly basis. As he said, they look at your income, they look at your family size and things of that nature. But again, if you can have a smaller bill for some great health insurance coverage, then that's something that we need to be excited about. Also, pre-existing conditions, if you were turned down in the past, it doesn't matter. They do not look at that at all. They do accept pre-existing conditions. Mm-hmm. And what are some other great things about it?
Well, pre-existing conditions is one of the ones I love because you can actually get the insurance and go to the doctor right away, and they're covering everything. One of the biggest things that is affecting the program, so is that you need to understand how your program works. So your agent should be explaining to you how your doctor choice works. Is it an HMO? Is it a PPO? What's the difference? How do I go from a regular doctor to a specialist? And there's different nuances in each program that you need to understand how they work so you don't get stuck with the bill. There are deductibles for almost all the programs, so you need to know how much your deductible is.
And I want to say they do have some great deductibles, but you should sit down with an individual like this because the way it is right now, you guys can go on to the marketplace, so they call it, and register yourself. But it's great to work through an agent that can actually navigate you through this entire process.
Yes.
So just want to encourage you guys to look into this. I myself was paying an astronomical price monthly for health insurance, and I did get with Mr. Thomas, and he was able to lower that significantly. And it's really shocking when you get the figures. But they are customized and catered to your particular situation. So make sure you connect with Mr. Thomas, get that look done, that first look, that assistance with submitting to the marketplace, so they call it, so that you can get your health insurance set up. Now, I want to know, are there anyone that's not eligible?
You have to be a citizen or have some type of legal status in the United States. That's the biggest thing. If you're over 65, you're not eligible. Your spouse may be eligible though. So we have a lot of people that live with their parents. It all goes into the way you file your taxes. So let's say I'm a 40-year-old person living with my parents and I have no income, but I'm depending upon my parents. My parents are in their 60s and 70s. If they declare you on their income taxes for that next year, you can actually claim their income to help file your health insurance. That's a very important thing. If you have no income, you have to go through Medicaid. However, with North Carolina, they did not expand the Medicaid. In South Carolina, they did not expand the Medicaid. Several other states, they did not expand it. So you won't have any coverage at all.
All right, and what we all need to remember is that you'll be penalized for not having coverage.
Yes.
So regardless of your situation or scenario, we need you to connect with Mr. Thomas so that he can review that with you, and you will not be hit with that penalty. I do have a question.
Sure.
Since you've been writing a lot of these policies when it comes to the Affordable Care Act and so-called Obamacare, I would like to know what's the lowest premium you saw on a monthly basis for someone's insurance?
The lowest one, besides free, of course. Now, just because it's free doesn't mean...
So you've seen some free?
Well, $0, I'll say.
Okay.
It'll say $0. But when you understand what $0 means, that means you have a very large deductible. Okay. So you're going to have a very large, usually $5,000 before the plan pays anything. There has been that, but what happens is the lowest one I've ever seen is $9 a month.
$9 a month.
The most expensive one I've seen without the subsidy was actually around $2,000 a month for insurance.
And then with the subsidy, what did it turn into?
After the subsidy, it turned into, instead of them paying $2,000 a month, the way they had their household set up, it actually dropped. It was unbelievable. It dropped to it was about $86 a month for the whole family.
$86 a month. That's why it's worth you guys taking a look at this. We're not going to say that that's going to be your exact scenario. It's like a thumbprint. You have different income data. You have different family size. Everybody's, making different amounts. So you need to sit down with a professional like this and take a look at what's going on with you, and if you can reduce the cost of your health insurance for your family. Mm-hmm. That number is 704-728-5075 to Mr. Thomas. That's 704-728-5075. Thank you so much for watching Money Talk. Here's your financial tip of the day. Do you only have life insurance on the job? That's a terrible mistake. Whenever you leave that job, 9 times out of 10, you will not be taking that insurance with you. So it's very important that you get with a financial advisor or insurance agent and get life insurance outside of the workplace. If you wait, you'll be older by the time you leave or retire. You may have gained weight. You could have health problems, which will give you a very increased premium. So it's best that you do this immediately.